Look at the baby. Look at the baby. Look at the little baby. You know, like your baby. I love you, baby. I love you, baby. We're on a mission. Mission for snacks. Winter storm snacks. I think this is the one, which would be this one. Also this one, but it's twice the price. I put that one back. I went to ask about them. That is for my engine air filter. This is the one that I actually want because I'm actually concerned about the air coming into the cabin. So this is it. I have a theory that the people who work in automotive at Canadian Tire are made to treat you like you're a moron on purpose. I think that they treat you like you're too dumb to fix your own car. So if you go in as if you're going to hire them, they're fine. And then as soon as they find out that you're just buying a piece and you plan to do the work yourself, suddenly you're an idiot. That's how I feel. What do you guys think? I need both hands for this, but turns out the 2010, this model, doesn't have an air filter for the cabin. So,
We're returning it?
yes. So what happened was Nala started coughing recently, and it worried me because I saw a video recently-ish where someone's cat had asthma, and I started thinking that maybe Nala had asthma. So I started Googling things and getting paranoid, and I was gonna make an appointment at the vet, but I am very apprehensive about the vet because of what happened with Spot. And I'll tell you that story in a second. But just for my own sanity, I tried to solve the issue on my own. And the first thing I thought of was maybe it's the air filter in the car, and I should get a new air filter and clean the air in the car so that she can breathe better. So I bought a new air filter, and that didn't go well. Then I started thinking, what if her other symptoms have something to do with it? And I Googled it, and it actually did. So chances are Nala was just feeling a little constipated, which is very bizarre that a cat would cough because they're constipated, but apparently that's a thing. Therefore, I got her some pumpkin at the pet store, and I gave her some pumpkin at her food, which has worked in the past, so hopefully that's gonna solve the issue. If it doesn't, I'll bring her to the vet, but chances are that's gonna fix it. So I'm gonna tell you what happened with Spot and why I'm apprehensive with the vet. Spot had been throwing up to the point of throwing up blood. She wasn't eating. This was a few years back. It was bad, and so I brought her to the vet, and the vet poked and prodded her, took x-rays, took blood, all kinds of stuff. She was almost traumatized after, really not having a good time. And at the end of it, and a really expensive bill, they told me they had absolutely no idea, but that she had to eat, and I had to assist feed her / force feed her whatever food that they gave me, this vet appropriate diet that they gave me. When I started feeding her the food, she got worse, so I Googled it and found out that it's actually really common for cats to have allergies, especially to fish. And all the food that they gave me had fish in it. So I figured out the solution without the vet, and we could have used to not traumatize Spot with all the tests and rack up a huge bill. So this time I've learned my lesson, and I just Google things and I try to solve the problem the best I can myself before going through the process of going to the vet. You might not agree with that. You might choose to do different things, and any given situation could be different. If it was an emergency situation, I'd probably make a very different choice, but that's what happened. Just wanted to show you this cute view. I know it's not the best angle, but when I was looking at it out my side view mirror, I'm like, that's so cool. This is new. It's also obnoxious, especially on a night when there's limited parking elsewhere. At this point, it's about 1:45 in the morning. Basically, at about 1 o'clock in the morning, I was woken up by Nicki Minaj just blasting it in my ears. And I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? Did they leave that on? And is it going to just keep playing for the rest of the night? And then I got in the cab to turn the heater on, and I realized that the light was still on in the Starbucks where the music was coming from. And so I'm like, okay, I have time to go see what's going on, because if they're still there, I have time to ask them if they're going to shut it off. Because if they leave and they leave it on all night, I'm not going to get any sleep tonight. And so I went to the Starbucks to knock on the door to politely ask them what was going on with the music. And they looked at me and they pretended like I wasn't there. I stood there a while. Nothing changed. I knocked again. Nothing changed. I knocked harder. They just looked at me. They were aware that I was there, and then they just went on their merry way, whatever you want to call it, just pretending like I don't exist. As in, they knew I was there and they just didn't want to talk to me. And at some point, the girl went like this over her head, like her hands, or like this. It's like her hands are tied, as in she can't help me or whatever. As in, like, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I just so desperately want a coffee that I'm banging on the door. And I'm pointing at the speakers and I'm trying to tell them that was the problem. That has nothing to do with the coffee. and still ignoring me. So the girl finally comes to the door, and I tell her that the music is blasting outside, and she acts like it's totally normal, which it's not. So I asked her if she could turn it down. She just stared at me blankly, like she really didn't understand what my problem was, or she just didn't care. And when I asked her if she could turn it down or what was going on, and she said she would and then just didn't. And that's when I'm like, okay. I waited a few minutes. Nothing happened. Like 10 minutes later, I tried again to get their attention. Nothing. I went through the drive-thru thinking they have their headsets on and it looks like they're talking, so maybe they're doing the drive-thru. And no, the drive-thru was closed, so they were just talking to each other with the music blasting on the inside and outside. Fine, whatever. I get that, you want to have as much fun as you can doing that kind of work, but I also recognize that there are other people in the area, and also it's very not normal for this to be going on at 1 o'clock in the morning. Just to give you a little idea of what the roads are like right now, there's not even anywhere I can pull over to put something into my GPS, so I don't even know where I'm going right now. This is the pumpkin that I get. This is not sponsored, but this is useful information, so I'm sharing it with you. I get it in these little pouches at the pet store, Bosley's, and there's only a few days worth in the pouch. So it's perfect because I can open this and leave it open for a couple of days, just stored in this little box here under their food, because it's still cold enough that it'll stay relatively refrigerated and it won't go bad by the time it's done in a couple of days. So I just put a little bit in their food, and I make sure that whomever needs to eat it, because apparently they really like it, so I mix it in with the dry food and then I give it to whomever. Here, you want to show them? you want to eat it and show them? No? Okay. Well, here. Like so. Or there's this shortcut. It's been a while since I started giving Nala the pumpkin. At first, she seemed to get better pretty quickly. Then a few days later, she got the cough back, and it seemed to have been worse. So that's when I started to get worried. But I didn't have the funds to pay for the vet. So that's when I went on YouTube and I asked if anyone was willing to pitch in. And I did get a couple of very kind people who did pitch in. So I want to thank Shannon and Rochelle, first off. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. But then shortly afterwards, the cough seemed to have gone away, and I waited a bit, and for a couple days, she seemed to have been cough-free. So I'm like, okay, that's weird. I wonder if she's getting better. And it's been a few days now, and she hasn't been coughing like she was before. She did have a couple of little situations, but nothing like it was before, where it was like she was struggling to hack up a hairball. So I'm not really sure what's going on, if she's getting better, if she's gotten better, or what's going on. So right now, I'm at the point of just keeping an eye on her, because I don't want to go to the vet and they're like, well, she is not even symptomatic right now, and again, we can't tell you what's wrong. So instead, I'm just going to keep an eye on her and prepare. If I have to take her to the vet, then I will. But she might be totally fine now. Yep. It might have been constipation. Might have been a cat cold. I don't know. but she seems to be doing really well and has a lot more energy lately than she's had. And that might have something to do with the weather changing as well. So, yeah. Hey? Hey? Wanna say hi? Wanna say hi? No? Until the next one. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.